Hello, and welcome to Hashgraph Radio's The Lounge. Thanks for coming around to the place where time flows as smooth as this sound. Just relax and feel breezy while this piano flows through your ears nice and easy. Where our problems just drift away, no matter if it's night or day. Let's accept that things will be okay, we say. Welcome to The Lounge on Hashgraph Radio. Welcome, my friends, to The Lounge, our little corner of the world where we make it our place to bring relaxation to your headspace. The music and sound, along with news that has been found. During different segments, we'll take callers for any questions or conversations to be had. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy The Lounge on Hashgraph Radio. For those unfamiliar, I'm Emerson Jr., reading you the news brought to you by Italian Jedi, while we listen to music by our very own Harry Nicholson. May 22nd, Gemini says Genesis parent DCG missed a $630 million payment. Gemini says it is working with Genesis DCG and creditors to provide forbearance to DCG in order to avoid a default. Gemini's CEO, Cameron Winklevoss, has issued a litigious threat to sue Digital Currency Group CEO Barry Silbert for the repayment of a $900 million loan after Genesis filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Discussions are currently happening, but if no deal is reached, Gemini and other parties have proposed an amended reorg plan with Genesis. Gemini is preparing to file a claim seeking the return of over $1.1 billion in digital assets from Genesis to its 200,000 earned users. According to a January court filing, Genesis owes over $3.5 billion to its top 50 creditors, including Gemini, Cumberland, Marana, Moon Alpha Finance, and Van X New Finance Income Fund. In Bitcoin news, May 23rd, Bitcoin climbs past 27.4K, but remains in holding pattern as investors continue U.S. debt limit vigil. Ether and most other altcoins rise slightly, even as stocks drop amid worries about debt ceiling negotiations. For nearly 2 weeks, Bitcoin has stood range-bound between 26,500 and 27,500 as investors fret over ongoing crypto regularity issues that have sapped liquidity from markets and macroeconomic uncertainties, including the recent U.S. debt ceiling stalemate. After the market of 2022, sideways movement has felt a lot better than downward movement. Quoted Tim Frost, CEO of digital wealth platform YieldApp, quipped in an email to CoinDesk. Although he added that it does not feel like the crypto markets are stagnating. The current dynamics seem to be traders with existing liquidity moving it around in different directions, with no large injection from equity market entering BTC. The current total crypto market cap is still currently $1.3 trillion. May 25th, Bitcoin's hot ordinals economy is getting a dollar-backed stablecoin. Bitcoin's quickly maturing ordinal scene has come a long way since January. The new token, Stably, USD, aims to become a go-to currency for traders transacting in a wave of novel assets being built on Bitcoin, according to issuing company Stably. The crypto startup says its token can make trading in ordinal cheaper and more efficient than paying in fiat or even Bitcoin itself. Bitcoin's quickly maturing ordinal scene has come a long way since January, First envisioned as a method of inscribe NFTs on Bitcoin's smallest denomination, the Satoshi. The Ordinals protocol has since become a gateway for creating all sorts of tokens, including stably USD. The latest so-called BRC20 token can make trading in all Ordinals a little easier. If it catches on, of course. Right now, Ordinal traders pay in two ways, either by on-ramping stable fiat currency for a fee or with an accessible but volatile Bitcoin. Stably says, each stablecoin will solve both issues by retaining a stable value and remaining accessible on-chain.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Emerson Jr. We're here with J-Man from Barbarian INC. Talk about his project, let it know what they're going to be coming up with, and what they have in mind for the future. All right, J-Man, can you tell us a little bit about your project for people who don't know?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for the introduction. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so our project is called Barbarian INC. My name's Justin, by the way. I am the project coordinator and CEO over there and one of the founders. So we've decided to go the route of establishing this project as an LLC. I want to open with that. We've done this out of Florida under the name H Barbarians, and our main focus is to build out a large grouping of community-centric NFT collections. And at our core, we really just want transparency, community centricity, trust as the focus behind everything we do. So I guess the takeaway here that I would really want people to have is that the name Barbarian INC, when all is said and done, will be synonymous with quality, both in regards to art, partnerships, writing, and there's a few ways that we're going to be accomplishing this. But mainly we aim to do this through always having a strong, in-depth storyline linking our various NFT collections together. And really just staying super committed to releasing art and storyline that we feel is AAA quality. So we're really just trying to build an ecosystem here under this name, Barbarian INC. I would say that's a pretty good bite-sized summary of what we're about.
All right, awesome, yeah. So now, when it comes to your project, there's an aspect of it that is alternate reality text-based. And can you kind of go into that and explain to us what it is that your project is doing with that and how it'll be implemented when it comes to your NFTs being a part of this process?
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually our pretty much our kind of medium-term focus right now. We're putting a lot of energy into what we refer to as an alternate reality game. The game's called The Lost Ones, and as you mentioned, it is text-based. I would refer to it as a choose your own adventure game. And I can provide a couple proof of concepts as well at the end that kind of make a little bit more sense. But this game is something that the team and I are going to be putting on throughout the course of this year. And the conclusion will likely come during the tail end of Q4 2023. And this game, it's going to have a strong scavenger hunt vibe, including some problem solving strategy. And what we're going to be setting up here is a situation where people will be attempting to navigate and progress through a storyline. And this is going to happen in conjunction with 5 different NFT collections that will be introduced throughout the year, probably about 2 to 4 weeks apart from one another. And these 5 collections, along with the storyline, are actually going to be what's building upon one another. And I can talk about exactly how in a moment. But the unique NFT twist that we're putting on this ARG is what we're really excited about. So normally, like an ARG, it's like those books you've seen. There's one company, Goosebumps, that came out with a bunch of books in the 90s called Choose Your Own Scare, where as the reader, you'd have various choices to make throughout the storylines that would dictate the type of experience that you had as a reader. So we're doing something very similar to that, but with these NFTs layered in. And so the way that we've structured this is each of these 5 NFT collections will contain specific items hidden throughout that complete a portion of this storyline. So basically, the player is going to have to discover and put together the correct collection of NFTs from all of these various groupings in order to view their entire storyline correctly. And there's multiple storylines that can occur, which is like very, very cool. You know, some people are going to have one experience, other people are going to have another. I think there's like 24 different paths in total. And in terms of deducing like which of these specific items are needed, that's where the heavy scavenger hunt vibe comes into play. So we're also doing another twist on it where the first 15 people to complete the storyline first will actually be receiving a large prize as well. It's going to be in the form of HBAR. And we're hoping that this draws a lot of people in too. So you've got this ARG, you've got this storyline experience that you can have, but you also have like a scavenger hunt, you know, like a classic scavenger hunt type of an experience as well that can be had. And we're also going to be doing all this through what we refer to as a storyline website, where players will actually have to connect their NFT wallets to this website in order to view the progress that they're making within this game. So there will be some level of interaction, even though it's text-based, and we think that this is going to speak to some people as well. And we're going to fund this prize pool by allocating and setting aside 15% of each of these 5 mints associated with the game. So, you know, that's really, I would say that's like our medium-term focus as a company right now. And one thing you're going to notice like throughout this ARG is that all of these collections, there's going to be also this component of just like almost like borderline obsession with quality of art. So we're excited about that as well, because we think that some people are just going to be along for this ride for that reason. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's pretty cool, man. So with that, you know, I have a few questions. It's who's in your project? How long have you been working on this? And I know that you mentioned the Goosebump, you know, create your own story thing. Is that the inspiration for your project, or did it come from elsewhere?
Yeah, that is actually the major inspiration. There's one other POC that really always spoke to me, that influenced me heavily on coming up with this concept. And it's Black Mirror Bandersnatch. I don't know if you're familiar with that movie. It's on Netflix. It's part of the Black Mirror horror story series that they did. And it was a movie where you could have, you made choices in that movie, and it would influence the type of movie you watched. So that was like another huge component as well. But to be honest with you, guilty as charged, like the Goosebumps, it like all kind of came back to that for me. You know, I know there are other books and ARGs out there that have accomplished similar things, but I grew up on these books, and that was really the inspiration behind this for me. But in terms of the team, like who's working on this with me, how long we've been working on it for. So we've got Max Bringardner also known as Supernal. He's our community manager and story and lore writer. All of these people I'm about to mention are in-house. So they're like they're not, hired from outside. They're they're a core part of the project. So I'm very proud of that. We all are. So we've got him as the story and lore writer for this thing. And then we've got Elixon Valoria. He's our project artist. And we've got Nate Hyatt as our lead developer. He's front end and back end. And our dev work requirements for this project are pretty light. But, he's done things like build out our website and, help with things with the Discord and various things like that. So it's been very useful. And he's also a founder, as I mentioned before. Like, these are core team members. So we've been working on this. It kind of varies. So Nate Hyatt is our third developer. He's been with the project for probably about 5 months now. Elixon and I were in this thing from the beginning. It actually started with us too. I dug up our first conversation ever on the project probably a couple weeks ago. I was just curious, and him and I had gotten to talking and reminiscing and talking about how close we've become. I've known him for a few years now, and the first mention of this between him and I was October 20th of 2022. So we were starting to kind of formulate things then. And then we started the first Twitter account for Barbarian Inc. on December 20th, exactly 2 months later. So that was when we brought it into the public eye. But we had a lot of internal documents that had already been drawn up, and a lot of, some of the art had already been completed by that time. So right around that point, Nate joined the team. We had 2 other devs, as I mentioned before, just didn't work out, which is super normal as far as developers go. So he's been in this, I would probably say since late December, early January. So a good 6 months minimum, I would say. And then in terms of Supernal, he's been with us probably about 3 months now, I would say. He became the community manager and story and lore writer probably about 6 to 8 weeks ago. Prior to that, he was a mod and just a supporting individual of the team. He came on knowing that there was a potential that there would be a larger role for him down the road with this project. Now, prior to him, we'd had another community manager that we have obviously since parted ways with. And that person was with us shortly after Elixon and I started putting our heads together through till about, I would say 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago. Now, one thing that's worth mentioning, I would say, in regards to that, he actually had written out a lot of this storyline already, because he was literally in the same role Supernal's in now. And part of the agreement when we parted was that we would not use any of his IP. And so we did have to end up hitting reset in terms of the storyline. But Supernal's been absolutely crushing it. I know he's been writing on the side in his own life for, I think, over a decade. And he's incredibly talented. So he's been playing catch up, but he's been able to get a lot done thus far and put us into a very good position, a much better position than we were in even 2 weeks ago. So that's kind of like the team there. We do have a lawyer as well that is in-house that we have allocated a percentage of the company to in order to be able to use his services as needed, which is pretty cool and, again, pretty unusual. But yeah, that's the rundown of the team there.
It seems like you guys have a lot of stuff figured out with it. I definitely like that, especially the in-house lawyer. So can you just kind of tell us about, you have a mint coming out June 1st, right? So
Yes.
How does the Founders Pass play into that? And I'm hearing about an airdrop. So what does everything look like for the future of your projects, how will the Founders Pass be relevant for that and bring value to the holders?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Founders Pass has a myriad of utilities attached to it. One of which, and I think that this is actually worth bringing up first, all of these Barbarians, and we're saying Founders Pass, but I want the listener to understand too that this is also a full-blown PFP collection as well, with trait-driven rarity. They're highly collectible. The art on these is pretty amazing, I would venture to say. But with that said, they're also community Founders Passes, and that comes with a huge burden of, almost like a burden of proof of like, okay, you're throwing around that name. What do they do? How do these integrate long term into your ecosystem? So the first thing I'll bring up is these Barbarians. They will be playable as the Mortals race in the upcoming ARG. And this is a big deal in and of itself, because not all races released in this upcoming mint that we have in probably like a couple months from now, where we introduce the rest of the races, not all of those are going to be playable as characters. So it's going to be tough to figure out which is which, and that's where the puzzles come in. But basically having one of these Barbarians will provide an instant leg up for players, because you get to bypass that first phase of gameplay and know that you have a guaranteed playable game piece in your possession. The other thing too is one of these Barbarian NFTs from the collection will be an instant winner of this game. So simply holding this item, whichever one that ends up being, upon completion of the game will grant whoever is in possession of it a share of this prize pool. And as I stated before, 15% of the ARG mints are going to this prize pool. It's going to be a substantial amount of HBAR. So that's something too. That's more of like a fun little kind of like side utility, but worth mentioning. Also, all holders are going to be receiving this airdrop, which I can go into a little bit more in a moment. But another thing that we've been really stressing with these is that there's going to be a permanent and ongoing commitment to providing perks and benefits to holders as the Barbarian Inc. ecosystem continues to evolve. And it's really going to be a top priority for us. So, continue to expect the same level of transparency moving forward in terms of, what these do, how do these play into what we're building. There's a few things that we've done already. This gives you special access to gaming within, it gives you access to a playable character within at least one game, if not more, within the Rooster Cartel / Dragma Labs gaming ecosystem that they're building out. So that's an additional perk that's already been added since the creation of this project. Another one too is it gives you access to playable skins in a first-person shooter called The First Strike, which was developed by the Egoverse. So that's like another big deal. And none of our other NFTs are going to give you that access. We're token gating that experience to people who hold these Founders Passes. And we're going to continue to do so. We're very committed to that, making these really stand out from the other collections we do. Another thing too is one whitelist will be granted for each of these 5 ARG NFT collections that we're going to be doing in the near future. And this is purely intended to open the door to holders that choose to participate in the game. It's not the main selling point at all on the community Founders Passes at all. But, to be honest, a lot of people are going to want to, we think that a lot of people are going to want to just purchase and hold these for the art too, aside from this utility. Like, all these utilities are great. But we're thinking that, some of it may just be art-based too in terms of collectability. But circling back to the airdrop, going into a little bit more detail about that, And I want to point out too, it's like we're already delivering on this utility. We're already following through, and we feel very important about that. In terms of the brand creation that we're trying to accomplish here, follow through is going to be directly connected to community trust and all of that. So we're already moving our feet here with these and proving to people that like you're going to want one. Like it's probably important to get in on this collection. If you're going to do any collection within our ecosystem, this is likely going to be the one. Talk is cheap. And I think that like actually showing firsthand the value add that one of these can have is way more important. So all holders are going to be receiving a free NFT airdrop from a 1,000-item collection done by our artist. And that's occurring June 1st, so a couple days from now. And it consists of 10 separate pieces of art. There's going to be a 100-item count associated with each of those pieces. And I do just a bit of a PSA real quick. I do want to mention that any H Barbarians, if you are listening and you're a holder already, that any H Barbarians you want to qualify for this airdrop, they do need to be delisted by June 1st at 12:30 p.m. EST at the latest. So yeah, jumping back in real quick, I think it's important to note that for this airdrop, very similar to the way we're structuring this semi-unusual way that we're minting out this H Barbarians collection, only 500 of these pieces will be airdropped initially, and then another 250 with mint number 2, and another 250 being dropped after mint number 3, because we have broken this H Barbarians Community Founders Passes mint up into 3 phases. And we just feel like these are fun, well-done pieces. We're excited to share that value with our community. And I think yet again, like what we're most proud of is the art quality here. I that's what's got me fired up. Every day I get these sneak peeks from Elixon and what he's been working on, what's coming up next. And it's so motivating and inspiring for the team and I. And, we're hoping to yet again put our money where our mouth is on this airdrop and show people these things are pretty cool. Worth having if you're into digital collectibles on a pure art basis. Keep your eyes open, because we're pretty serious about bringing you very high quality hand done art. These are all hand drawn. So,
all right. Now the thing is, with this being a game, you have an interface. So can you tell us about the interface of the game, how it looks? How do you connect? Do you just use, your wallet? Which wallet? And what's the future of the interface for you guys in your mind?
Yeah, so we are admittedly keeping this very simplistic. So the way things look right now, you will go onto our website. There's going to be a tab called The Lost Ones that's just labeled The Lost Ones. You click on that. We're going through Hashpack on this one. You can you can copy a string pairing, or you can directly have it prompt your Hashpack to open up and connect in that form as well. And upon connecting, the game will like immediately open up. And it's really going to be the first screen is you choose what chapter you want to interact with, and then what race you're playing with, and then once you've done that, what specific NFT within your wallet within that race you want to play with. This is for chapter 1 at least. Once that's all sorted, if it's playable, chapter 1 will populate on the screen. And we're doing like some really cool AI generated backgrounds, static images. This is text based. So we've done it in a way where it's easy to read, in terms of like actually like literally visually. So, you'll see this text appear over pretty cool background images. And then at the bottom, you can click complete chapter 1, and that will kind of lock you in for that portion of the storyline. The same thing will be, it will be the same with chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4. So, I'm sure some people will just click through and check that box off because they're more into these puzzles and games that we're playing outside of this website. But for people that are really into high quality storyline too, could be a really, really fun experience. But yeah, no, very simple, very, very simple interface. Clean, beautiful, but simple.
All right, that's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. So, with this part, make sure that you like and share the space. Bring awareness to this so everybody can stop in and continue to gain information on this project. I see we have quite a few people here. Returnals, thank you. Perma, Metavision, Lady H Bar, Crypto Girl, Jack and Diamond, everybody. Hey, thank you so much. Graham Ryder, nice to see you. So, Pete, do you have any questions for Justin?
I know not to whom this Pete character is that you're referred to. In the Twitter spaces, I am known only as Jedi. I'm just playing, Rob. How you doing?
Hey, man.
I have a statement first, and then I do have a question. I want to say that in the kind of grand scheme of the overall paradigm of HBAR NFTs, there's a lot of talk about all the rugs that have been going on, and just the overall tumultuous nature of the space. People who want just art, people who want just utility, people that don't know what they want. But I would like to say and really commend you guys because we've been with you guys since the very beginning. I believe you were one of the first people that came into any space that we had when Hashgraph Radio, which was previously Hangry Radio, actually started. So to see the conceptual ideology of this throughout the past few months, and then coming into the space, making your personality known, your in real life docs personality, everything that you share, building that trust and that rapport with the ecosystem. It's very, very kind of old school, even though this is a very kind of brand new space. In my opinion, it's very reminiscent of why I kind of fell in love with the HBAR NFT community. And I just wanted to give you guys your flowers and say that everything that I've seen thus far and the way that you articulate and the way that you're always excited about the project and there to answer in great detail about what's coming, what you've already done, and what you plan to continue to do. I just want to say I'm kind of blown away by that. So kudos to you guys. Keep fucking crushing it. I love to see it. Oh, sorry for the profanity. I know we're supposed to keep PG. I'm just excited about it. And then secondly, it's the question, which is, and I think I kind of came in, I'm coming back from a barbecue and just settling in, getting the kiddos ready to get ready for bed. But what I'm understanding here is that the actual pass that is already the NFT PFP collection will basically be, like you already demonstrated and explained earlier on, that as you guys build, you don't have everything laid out, but you continue to build layer by layer, utility by utility, perk by perk. But by holding this early pass, will basically be along for the entire ride. So it behooves individuals to be a holder of at least one of these passes. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, you are. And I'm actually going to drop a little bit of alpha right now. Nobody actually this is the first time publicly I've stated this. For example, we released one sneak peek probably about a week ago of the art that's going to be in the first of these races that we're releasing outside of the mortals. So you've got the CFPs that are acting as mortals within this game. We've got another race coming next that's called the Gaians. And it's basically like a tree people type race. I'm super, super dumbing that down. There's way more thought and depth and research that went into that name and that race, et cetera, et cetera. But when those come up for mint, anybody who holds a community founders pass is going to have access to that mint for a 20% discount, which is insane. So all woke femme holders, because we do this through NFTer, they'll have a 10% discount. They were the only collection that had a 10% discount this last mint that we did. Nobody had a CFP yet. So We went with the woke femmes. Really, really proud that we did. We're going to continue to offer that discount to woke femme NFT holders. However, the community founders pass holders are going to get access to that mint for a 20% discount. And they're going to continue to get a 20% discount throughout the entire ARG collection mints, which is huge because they're already going to be priced in a way tokenomically where you'll likely be able to do okay, if not extremely well. I don't, obviously not financial advice. I want to be very careful about the language that I use, but we're also trying to provide opportunities here within the NFT trading space as well. So you're completely correct. And I'm actually really, really proud to mention that for the first time, because that is a substantial discount on what will already be a reasonable mint price. So yeah, we're very, very committed to the CFP. I'm sure you agree, Italian Jedi. The Community Founders Passes label, that we went through kind of like this period on Hedera, not anytime super recently, but like 4 to 6 to 8 months ago, where it was being thrown around a little bit too casually. Like people were throwing the passes label onto things that like didn't really have like a lot of utility outside of like a whitelist pass. So, this is kind of born from a rejection of that, so to speak. And of course, I'm not trying to throw shade on any other project, because the people that have done passes with limited utility, they've done it very well, or they've earned the right to be able to be a little bit more mystical about what are these going to do? We don't know. We're not going to say what, like you're going to have to wonder and like this and that. And they've played that card very well. And a lot of those projects have actually followed through on delivering. However, what you're seeing with us, with our passes, is a little bit of a rejection of that and an acknowledgement on our part that we are unproven builders. And so we're really trying to just be very transparent about exactly what you're going to get, exactly what is in that box of chocolates that you're about to buy.
All right, Jedi, you have another question?
Yeah, I was just getting my littlest kiddo out of the room because she was screaming for a second. But first of all, J-Man, thank you for, once again, a very articulate and detailed explanation, answer to my question.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. And then also, just to kind of follow up with what you're saying, so I think it's more of an evolution of the concept of a community or founders pass. And just to be fair, I don't think you're throwing shade at anybody, but there are still a lot of projects out there that have this mystery utility pass where there's been no true utility. So once again, not saying that that's a negative thing or a positive thing, but like you said, put your money where your mouth is. You came up with this concept. You're calling it a rejection of pre-established conceptual kind of ideology or the way that the community overall saw it. I look at it as more of an evolution because it's exactly what you're saying that it is. You don't say, it's not outright stating, if you have this pass, everything that we ever do that's positive, you'll have access to it. But as you build, this is kind of your basically main stage access as you guys do what you do, and I think that the overall growth of this project has been kind of mind-blowing, like I stated previously. And then just one final follow-up question. You guys are gaining a tremendous amount of traction and popularity, which I think will continue as you guys build and continue to deliver and put your money where your mouth is, like you said. Do you guys have any plans on, as you grow, forming any type of partnerships with other known projects out there, as opposed to something like a collab like you have with Woke Femmes for discount purposes? Is there anything in the works or any particular projects that you're looking or have interest in working with in the future?
Yeah, so one project that keeps popping up, and it's a very kind of mutual, crossing of paths. Okay, we'll both think about it. Crossing of paths. Okay, maybe there's something here. Dragma Labs, is one that we're eyeing as a potential, I think that one thing that the ARG has inspired within the team is a desire to participate in the gaming aspect of NFTs as well. Even though what we're doing is very untraditional with the in this day and age. I mean, back in the 90s, it was like ARGs were absolutely a thing, but a lot of people now are onto that, 3D type of a gaming experience. And, we want to participate in that. And, one partnership, I mentioned it earlier in this space is with the Egoverse, which is an LLC out of Florida, and they are a Web 2 and Web 3 gaming company. And this is like a real deal partnership too. This isn't a collab. This was actually took a lot of resources on the company's behalf to make this happen. And we are going to be directly integrated into this first-person shooter game called The First Strike that they're doing. So you're talking about future partnerships. It's hard not to mention that one because that's still kind of evolving and coming to, its full maturity over the next probably like 6 to 8 months. I think that some people are probably undervaluing that true partnership that we have with them a little bit at this time, which is fine. And I'm actually banking on that. But, one thing that we are eyeing is Dragma Labs. We're really, really vibing the team. We're vibing Sai. There's another individual they work with that we feel very connected to, and we really like their just community culture mindset, and it's the cross chain activity that's going on with Dragma. They're mainly Hedera focused, but they have been producing playable characters for collections outside of Hedera. We really, really like that. It's part of why we jumped in with Egoverse as well. They're very, very cross chain pollinating. So yeah, I would say that in terms of like beyond a collab, because there is a huge difference. There is a huge difference between a collab and a partnership. I would say Dragma.
Gotcha. Hey, so with the start, what made you pick HBAR to be what you launched your project on?
Yeah, it felt, I just answered this question a week or two ago in a Spaces because we're all talking about like, why did we come to HBAR, this and that. It just felt more possible here. That was the initial, somebody had tipped me off to like, hey, take a look at Hedera. Take a look at the tech, take a look at the community. This is something to consider. So when I first actually was brainstorming, and I actually still have some of the documents, I saved them all in like a folder for nostalgic purposes, for like personal nostalgic purposes. Some of like my early brainstorming documents they're all priced out in Ethereum. Like the mints, like all that stuff. It's so cool to see because that was originally what I had my eye on. But with Hedera, so I first joined the Club HBAR Discord. And I just kind of just sat back and watched for a few days. And it was like intimidatingly intellectual, the conversations that were occurring on that Discord. And this fascinated me and sucked me in a little bit. And then I started to look into, I was like, where do you buy Hedera NFTs? Like what wallet do I need? I literally started with the basics. And so like I downloaded Hashpack, had an amazing experience. As somebody coming from Ethereum that's dealt with, MetaMask and Coinbase wallet, which they're fine. They're totally fine. But Hashpack stood out to me. Went on to Zeus, took a look at what I was being pointed to as the blue chips. Really really impressed with Boons and DPGC specifically. Took note of the floor price, which has always been high on those collections as far as Hedera goes, but took a look at the floor price in USD, compared that to the floor price on blue chips on ETH, and it all clicked. I was like, I'm early here. I am early. Like, I picked up a 2-digit domain, 47.hbar, for 5,000 hbar, like probably like 6-7 months ago. Like, it was these little like Easter eggs where I'm like, I am early. Like, a 2-digit domain is 5,000 hbar. This is so it started to just feel a lot more possible here. I connected with the intellectual culture. I connected with the blue chips, and also was able to step back and acknowledge how far there was a lot of room for growth on everybody's behalf. I also noticed some of the other art on with the other projects that I noticed some art that wasn't very strong in a few other projects as well. So it was like all of these little like positively reinforcing experiences that I had after like initially looking into and exploring HBAR that really sucked me in. And I've used this comparison several times in the past, but it's almost like I feel like I'm playing Division I basketball on Hedera, whereas with Ethereum, I felt like it would be like the NBA, frickin' finals, just like it's so hard now to make it on Ethereum, and it's still really hard to make it on HBAR. Like, don't get me wrong, Division I basketball is no joke. It's just early. And I think that's really why I chose Hedera. Now, why I'm here still, the people, Italian Jedi's seen it. Like, I've just really let my guard down. I've, in a lot of ways, opened my heart up, which is scary. It is scary. And I've just formed like a lot of very real and unexpected connections with multiple individuals in this space. And I had a DM conversation with Crypto Girl, who I seen here. Shout out to her. This was probably like a month or two ago, where I was like, it creeps up on you. Like, you don't realize that this genuine connection that you're forming with people is happening until it's like too late almost. You know what I mean? You're like, oh my God, I actually I care about whether or not this person is okay. IRL.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah. So that's part of why I'm here. That's why I'm staying. You know what I mean, so to speak. Is like this. I've really just made that leap and gone whole heart on this thing. But yeah, kind of a long-winded answer. I apologize for that.
No, absolutely. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for giving those answers, because I agree, man. There's a lot of kind and friendly people in this space. They help with onboarding. They seem to become, friends outside of the family, and then they get close enough to be family. Like, I talk to Italian Jedi all the time. We both pretty much know what's going on in each other's lives, and you also build other connections. It's a pretty solid space, man. I really enjoy it. Now, is there anything that you would like to talk about that we have not covered or asked you about today?
So one thing that I just want to allude to and tease a little bit is in regards to this airdrop. As I said before, there's 10 pieces of art that comprise this 1,000-item collection, right? So there's 100 of each of these pieces of art that are going to ultimately be airdropped into the wild, so to speak. So for people who are thinking about participating in our ecosystem, or who actively are participating in our ecosystem, keep in mind, collecting all 10 of these pieces is going to have, it's going to open a door to a potentially huge value add. We're going to be releasing 20 special edition H Barbarian CFPs and rewarding those the only way that you'll be able to get one of those. So it'll be 20 out of 1,000 of this, because the CFP collection is 1,000 items total. We're going to be rewarding one of these special edition H Barbarians to each person who collects all 10 of these pieces of art. And it's going to be a situation where, I mean, obviously it's like 20 times 10, that's 200. There's 1,000 of these. Like, not everybody's going to have an opportunity to be awarded one of these special edition NFTs. So exactly how that plays out and occurs, I'm going to leave in the dark for now, but it is a value to be focusing on complete sets with this airdrop. And we are going to make sure that at the bare minimum, we've been trying to get it listed on Zeus, but we have talked with Sentient and they're good to go. So these will be tradable on the secondary through Sentient, but we're excited about this like twist that we're putting on it. And we've teased a few of the pieces recently. I think the other thing too that I want to mention is that both this upcoming mint, we're going to announce the date for this part 2 mint of the CFPs on June 1st. So the day the airdrop occurs, we're also going to come out with a big announcement of when that next mint is, which is not far away, by the way. There's going to be a true one-of-one H Barbarian mixed in somewhere in that 250 mint coming up. And then in the last 250 mint, there's also going to be a true one-of-one mixed in there as well. And you're going to see a lot of this. We're just gamifying like everything. We're trying to bring fun back into NFTs. Little twists and opportunities and like, oh, if I mint one, like maybe I get that one-of-one, you know? I mean, we have zombies right now. You know what I mean? Like just to spice it up a little bit. You know, we have zombies right now where they're like, the zombies are the zombies. Like there's never going to be any more of them, period, the end. I think there's like 17 total. Those have been going for big numbers on secondary, which is like fun and exciting because it's like you do this mint for 420, you get this, you know, zombie, you don't quite know what it is. Then there's an announcement made that this is it. That's all that there's going to be. And it's exciting. You feel like you hit the lottery, you know, whatever, you know, it's like a fun little twist. So we're trying to continue to bring that energy. So that was the only thing that I would have wanted to mention is that little kind of additional like funness that we're going to be bringing to this airdrop.
I like it. And, you know, the space with how it is right now in the marketplace, it definitely needs a little, you know, spicing up. Supernal, you had something to say?
Yeah, hey everybody. Appreciate everyone being here, and I know we're getting near the end of this. I wanted to, as you're saying, there's something else we haven't covered yet. The main thing that, other than my primary focus is the writing, which on top of that, from the beginning, I've been trying to reach out to people and ask what do they want more from us, especially from a community aspect of really connecting people together and having a little more of an intimate kind of connection, which is just having a personal, like one-on-one conversation, smaller little spaces. We have our H Barbarians Club Town Hall every Thursday at 8 p.m., where we will go over just kind of what's happened this week, if there's any main announcements, and just sort of open it up for people to have conversations about whatever. And for me, people can reach out to me for any particular thing. And what I kind of want to try to create is everyone's here for a different reason. Obviously, investing and making some dosh is great. Getting some greenbacks, that's awesome. But people also are just one little more. And everyone has their own individual reason for that. So if we can kind of aggregate what is the pulse for where people are directing themselves, then we can create more products, services, which for me is just like researching and finding out information, helping us understand, maybe someone sees a new project and like, hey, is this legit? Can we kind of take a look at this, evaluate it a little bit? Or, someone wants to get into AI and they want to know, hey, how do I set this up? I've done that myself already. So kind of doing that little legwork to kind of have a nice place where people can be open about what they kind of want, learning new things. Crypto can be kind of a scary place because there's a lot happening and stuff moves really quick. You can get taken advantage of for that particular reason, but also just having a way to where you can easily kind of disseminate, taking small bites, right? This is a huge ass pizza here. We got a lot going on, and you're like, where do I even start? So kind of helping people out with that. And any ideas that people have, we're super welcoming with that, especially if it's something that's kind of new or if you're trying to be critical of something. That's what the whole transparency thing that Justin has mentioned of just sort of being sort of an open book, but in a way to where you feel like if you ask anything, we're not going to like hate you for it. We just want to know, like, what do you want? Everyone is a little bit different. And that's part of just what I'm trying to kind of reciprocate with and build that structure. So we kind of know over time where should we direct ourselves, especially after this ARG is completed. What do people want? So we kind of know what we should create next.
Right. Yeah. And that kind of openness builds trust between, the holders and the people who are in the space with you. So right now we're going to have the question portion from our listeners. If anybody has any questions, raise your hand and we can do that. And if not, we'll go into a commercial break and do the rest of the news. All right. Seems like we don't have any questions right now. So we're going to do a quick commercial and come on back.
We interrupt our scheduled broadcast to bring to you breaking news from Hedera Hall. Thanks, Anakin. This is Joe Peralta, reporting live from Hedera Hall. There seem to be multiple salsa-shaped objects floating above us. My word, Joe. Who are they?
As they looked onto what they couldn't understand, a heaviness in their hearts said, "We are not alone."
Anakin, the ship landed. They're stepping out. I can't believe it. My God, Joe. Spill the beans. What do they look like? Are they little green men? Are they space monsters?
It wasn't a man.
It wasn't a man.
It wasn't green. It wasn't. They were floppies. They
Or Metavision.
Hey Dad, can I have dessert?
Did you ask your mother, dear?
Hey Mom, can I have dessert please?
Did you eat your vegetables, dear?
Yeah, but I didn't want to. I just wanted something sweet.
Well, there's creamies in the icebox.
Thanks, Mom!
Gee golly, dear. I'm so thankful for Creamies because we all know that they don't make ice cream like they used to. Back in the good old days. Creamies NFTs. Creamies, there's something sweet. Creamies, you don't have to worry, cause once you turn your head, they'll rug in a hurry. Creamies! Creamies may provide rug. We are not responsible for rugs. They will rug.
All right, everybody. So we're gonna go into to the news portion. So as of right now, we had with the NASDAQ, they have congratulated XRP with their new purchase for Medico. So how does that look with everything that's going on in the with the SEC? I mean, it could be good, it could be bad, but I wouldn't think that the NASDAQ would be going out on a limb to do that if there wasn't anything there. but only time will tell, right? Then we also still have with the ledger at the moment. And if anybody wants to talk, just raise your hand. I'll bring you up and you can continue to talk on whatever it is you want to talk with. But right now we still have the backdoor issue with the ledger. So nothing's really changed at the moment with the ledger. It's just saying right now it's going to be a firmware update that they're actually postponing, because when it actually does go up, it seems like it will create this backdoor issue with these ledgers, which is going to be the Nano S Plus and the Nano X. Now let's go on with the rest of the news for it. So the last thing that I have right now is Blend seizes 82% of NFT lending market share, according to DAP Radar. Is there any news that anybody wants to talk about? If not, then this is really the end of the show, and I appreciate everybody coming on. Just keep an eye out for Barbarian Inc. right now with everything that they're going to be doing. They still are going to have their airdrop, which is coming on June 1st. And we could just continue to see what's in store with them right now. Thank you, everybody, for coming on to the show. Appreciate it. This Saturday, we're going to have a kid called Beast. They're going to be talking about their project, everything that's to come. And that should be pretty awesome. Same time, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern, every week, same time. Thank you very much for your time, everybody. Have a good night and stay blessed.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Thank you. Be well.
Absolutely. You too. Bye-bye.